Apple has brought out these major updates to iOS, iPadOS and macOS, to the iPhone, the iPad and the Mac. Actually also the Apple Watch and the Apple TV 4K, but we're writers. We're not going to write on a watch. Well, actually you could, but that's another story. As a writer, though, I think the question is, well, the question for everybody is whether or not you should bother updating. Really, should you postpone writing for a few minutes and update? And well, the answer is yes. In fact, it's oh yes. For one quite dull reason, actually, but also, I'm going to say, for 5 really strong reasons for us as writers. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as always, is for writers like you and me, who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPads, all of which have now got a fresh coat of paint, courtesy of Apple. Do please like, subscribe, or patronise me. We have so much to talk about, and actually more than we might usually at this time of year when Apple has released a set of updates. I mean, like I say, it does it every year at pretty much exactly this time. But this time, this update brings a much bigger change visually to the iPhone, the iPad and the Mac. It brings a new design called Liquid Glass, which isn't as earth-shattering as Apple would have you believe, but just the look of it on screen brings benefits, and beyond the appearance, this is the important thing, beyond the appearance, the new updates bring a lot of features that I think are particularly good for you and I as writers. You don't have to update, right? But you should. And you should, because there are these benefits and there are these new features. But also, actually, I'm going to go with you must, because of the dull reason that I'm trying to, make exciting here. If your Mac, iPhone or iPod can be updated to the latest system, well then the latest system is the safest one. It's the most secure, and it also presumably performs better. It certainly, it will have fixed more previously known bugs and things. That's the dull one. So it's dull but important. If you don't happen to already know, by the way, updating chiefly means, actually, I've got it here, popping off to make some tea. If your device can be updated, then at some point soon, it is going to tell you that it can. It is going to prompt you to click the Go On Then button, and you do. Some minutes later, you have the new iOS 26, iPadOS 26, and macOS Tahoe installed, and I think you might even jolt at the visual difference. Whenever there is a jolt, though, you have to suspect you might prefer the old way. But I promise you, you get used to Liquid Glass so quickly. I mean, instantly, really. And I think you do that chiefly because of these 5 things. And I keep saying there are 5. We've done the dull one. Let's now do the good ones. Let's do the 5. And actually, to my mind, yeah, why not? Let's do them in order of usefulness. Usefulness across all of the devices, the iPhone, the Mac, and, well, I'll just tell you right now, very definitely the iPad. I've been up since 5, that's my first cup of tea. Okay, first up, let's talk about Liquid Glass, as it is so visual and you see it straight away. The difference, I think, is most striking on the iPhone, but really all 3 devices have it, and all 3 have it for the same reason. The aim of Liquid Glass redesign is to make your work stand out, while Mac and iPhone and iPad, the controls of all of these devices, the buttons, well, they're there, but they're not so much in the way. It also aims to simplify those controls so that you can get more quickly to what you need most of the time, with the slightly more obscure options still within reach. For example, I think this is a good example, the camera app on the iPhone, it just has the buttons at the bottom for video or photo, and a big button. Press here to take the shot or start the video. You go straight to it. Main controls, right there. Get on with it. And yet, if you need something more, well, then you can just gently swipe left and right, and there you are. And then actually, you can then tap on any of those options that appear to get yet more options. Everything available, nothing in the way. I did actually think that this was better earlier, during one of the beta test periods of all this, because at one point, I think maybe the first pointer, you would open the camera app and you'd see the usual range of controls at the bottom, but they would rather slip away, slide off to the corner. So you ended up with the same basic options, but you saw that there were these other choices available, and you saw where they went. I found that clearer myself. But Separately, there's this on the iPhone and the iPad. Press and hold on some text and you can move around this bubble like thing. You always could. Actually, you could always move through your text like this, press and hold on the space bar and then move. But now there's this photographer's loop effect, this bubble, which makes things larger and which is clearer. Speaking of clearer though, this is OmniFocus on the iPhone. OmniFocus is a to-do app that I completely depend upon, and it's actually one of the very few third-party apps to be ready for liquid glass at launch. Other apps will do this, but Apple apps, not all of them actually yet, but most of them will do it. It's about this thing of surfacing controls when you need them and taking them out the way when you don't. So this is a section of OmniFocus called Review. If you don't know, it doesn't matter what it does, but there's a list basically of projects that I've got on the go. And there's this panel at the bottom. But the moment I start scrolling through the list, I don't need those controls anymore. I need some, but not all. The panel moves out of the way, becomes this smaller section, and I can tap to bring it back. The idea is I can see my work better. More than any of the kind of gimmicky visual tricks of liquid glass, that is the point. Although, speaking of gimmicky, and actually let's stick with the iPhone for a second, you can now quite radically change the look of every app you've got. I really rather liked completely transparent icons, but I found it just seemed to get hard to find the one I wanted. I knew where they were always in the same place, still it was hard to pick it out, so I've gone back to the default look, this more regular look. There is the same thing on the iPad, and there's a very similar thing on the Mac. On the Mac, you can have the dock at the bottom of the screen, if you have that displayed as I do, change to completely transparent, or turn to a different colour, have a different tint on it. You could go crazy, making it as ugly as you like. The menu bar thing, the dock, together with the menu bar at the top. The menu bar's been made to stand out a little less than it did. It's not straight white now. So again, it kind of fades. Your work dominates the screen, yet the controls are all there waiting for you. And I think controls are clearer. This is a Finder window on the Mac. Notice across the top that the options are picked out in little white blobs, really. They stand out more than they did. And on the navigation bar to the left there, the currently selected folder is highlighted in blue. I don't fully know the value of that, since the same folder name is listed at the top of the window as it always has been, but the aim is clarity, and that's got to be a good thing. Second, clipboard history on the Mac. For 30 years, not kidding, 30 years, you have been able, and I have, to buy Clipboard Manager apps for the Mac, and once you've done this, you know it is a feature that is so useful, it should come with every Mac, every PC as well, the lot. And now, 3 decades on, it comes to the Mac from Apple. This is definitely a feature that I think it sounds like a shrug until you first use it, and then maybe more so when you then go to a Mac that doesn't have it, or you turn to your iPhone and your iPad, which not only don't have this Clipboard Manager made by Apple, they cannot have any Clipboard Manager made by anyone else just because of how iOS and iPadOS works. Not in the same way you can on the Mac. Short version. 1 hour ago, something like that, I copied the website address for an article about the music that Jane Austen liked. And then I changed my mind about a paragraph in a piece that I'm writing, so I cut that. I added some things to a script. I'm just revising, basically. I copied citations out of an article. I edited someone else's work in an article, which it seemed to me there were necessary structural changes, moved paragraphs around. Yeah, I think I'm looking at you, you're just interested in the Jane Austen music. So, tell you what, let me paste that link for you. Boom, there you go. Right there, straight away. Like I just copied it and pasted it for you, but it was an hour ago, something like that. Open Spotlight. Click on the 4th little bubble that appears, or press Command 4 to jump to it. And there's a list of the last things you copied. Choose one, hit return, it's pasted. That is what a clipboard history does. Copy and paste as normal as ever, but what you paste can be the thing you just copied last, or it can be the thing before that. It can be the website address from an hour ago. It can be all sorts of things. It is possible that this is really the best feature of the whole of macOS Tahoe, except here, by the way, here's a link to a script I happened to read yesterday. That wasn't through Apple. Things I read it yesterday, didn't I? What I pasted that from was, I can show you that address, right, by pasting it from a clipboard, yes, so it looks like it's the same, but not Apple's one. This is pasted from Alfred 5, the third-party clipboard manager. Alfred does many things, but Clipboard Manager is one of them. I'm particularly good at it because Alfred's Clipboard Manager goes back, a day, several days. It can go back weeks. Think of it. Did you paste it? Yeah, it's there. Apple's clipboard history goes back 8 hours. This is a security thing. Apple even warned you actually about security. The first time you use this feature, it says, well, there's a potential problem in that the clipboard history could contain a password that you've copied from somewhere and entered into a site. And okay, so if someone can get to your Mac, can unlock it, and then knows to open Spotlight, knows to press Command 4, and knows to scroll down, they could see a password and then presumably guess what it's a password for. This is true. It's not something I'm going to, have a sleepless night about, but it is true with Apple's new clipboard history. Alfred 5, Raycast, all of them, actually, all of the third-party clipboard manager apps have been around over the last 30 years. They know to not store passwords. They let you copy and paste if you need, but they don't keep it ever. Why Apple can't do that as well, I do not know. But the really thing I do not know, and that I so wish Apple would change, is I really need Apple to bring this clipboard history feature to the iPad. Staying on the Mac, in fact, staying in Spotlight on the Mac, I think the third reason for updating all of this is quick keys. Let me just start a timer here because I want to write for the next hour. Command space to bring up Spotlight, Command 3 to open Actions, and then typing the letters S and T and a space. Away off we go. Or same thing, but S and E, and I'm sending an email. S and M, possibly not good choice of letters there. And I'm sending a message. Okay. Sending emails and sending messages. It's not exactly a new thing. I mean, the quick keys, it was a fast way to do it, but this is new. If I filled out that with who I want to send the message to or the email, and I write in what I want to say, then I can then press return and the message or the email is sent. Compare that to opening messages to write one, or opening your email, especially because when you open those, there will be emails and there will be messages waiting for you. And if you're anything like me, those things are really hard to just push out of your mind, deal with later. You see them, you can't ignore them. Using quick keys lets you stay focused on what you're doing. Send it out, no interruptions. Except what you're doing actually can be a range of things. It's borderline ridiculous, really. I mean, I chose to make SE mean send email, just as I chose ST to be start timer. You pick the short letters. It's up to 12. Letter or phrase that you remember, and then you add them to any of the literally hundreds of things your Mac can do for you. Hundreds. I would count them. I would count them to tell you precisely I am that kind of man, except the number varies. These, for example, are all the features I can set a quick key for on my Mac, but it's a mixture there of what Apple provides on every Mac and what other apps I happen to have that can offer a feature to macOS. Seriously, hundreds. It's great. I realise I'm concentrating a lot on the Mac here, but it is what I write at most. Let me from ahead, though, say that the iPad is coming, and wow, is it coming. But then nip back to the Mac very quickly, because actually there is already one 58 Keys episode all about this next thing, and in fact there's going to be another one very shortly. There'll be a link in the description below once it's out. Apple and the new updates have improved shortcuts, actually around the Mac, the iPhone and the iPad. Link below to the previous 58 Keys about this, but in the next one I will take you step by step through making a shortcut where you can just talk and talk and talk, get all of your ideas out of your head in any random order that I'm projecting, aren't I? And then end up with a written version which is organized, coherent and useful. I'm going on a self-assembly writing retreat shortly. I'm going back to Paris, and in order to do it I have to rearrange various things. You know what it's like. There are things where it would happen to be handy to be able to do an entire day or 2 days work solely on my iPad. to make that possible with some fiddly things and to make it kind of convenient enough, I have been adding new shortcuts to the iPad. Shortcuts, like I say, are on the Mac, the iPad and the iPhone, and they are always a boon for us as writers, but they're even better now. I do keep mentioning the iPad. Let's get on with that. It's true that liquid glass changes the look of the Mac, the iPhone and the iPad, but the thing that has changed the most, I believe, is the iPad. It has changed so much that you kind of wonder how you used to use it. It's changed so much that even though I already utterly adored my iPad, I'm now writing on it much more because of the changes. I'm thinking of getting a bigger iPad because of the changes. The changes, this is really the key thing, Windows. You're still working on a small display, right? But now instead of just one or just two apps, well, then you can arrange them as you like. I keep doing this, having the main one that I'm writing on be at the front, but have notes to the side. At times I've had 4 maybe apps overlapping and I've been tapping between them as I need. But the thing is, I tap as I need. It's up to me. It's up to you. Where they go, how they're arranged, what you use when. And you can fling windows around. You can suddenly you want to concentrate, make this one full screen by flicking it to the top, for instance. You choose when to concentrate on what. And actually, I've got to admit, I do not understand how this is done, but it is. Apps on the iPad now have a Mac-like menu bar at the top if you want it. You just swipe down and there it is. But the thing is, all iPad apps have this. Even before developers had time to make any changes, to add in any other new features to match liquid glass and the rest, they got a Mac-like menu at the top. I don't know where it comes from. Where does it get this information from to list? But it's so useful. Actually, so useful that I would like to go on. But you got it now. Well, of course you have. You've got it in the sense of you understand that windows like this are useful, and especially I think if you're used to how the iPad always was before, well then you can see that this is significantly different. You get that it's significantly more useful. But still I offer that you don't really get it until you've used it yourself. So off you pop. Go update your iPad and your iPhone and your Mac. I did say there were 5 reasons to update. I happen to have a 6th. This is just, I really like this. I don't know why I like this so much. I like this so much, I liked it so instantly when I started using macOS Tahoe and iPadOS 26 in the beta test. But I do know I loved it, and it was excruciatingly frustrating. It was so disappointing when it kept not working. However, as of this Monday just gone, as this is recorded, when Apple released the official public versions of macOS Tahoe and all the rest, it works. The phone on your Mac and on your iPad. Yesterday, for example, I was working away and my wife phoned me, which is very nice, but was this the first time in my life? My iPhone was still in my jeans pocket instead of beside me on the desk. I answered the call on my Mac. As long as your phone is nearby, your Mac and iPad now have a full phone app. And they said iPhone there, they have a full phone app that you can use. I would like it to be better. I'd like there to be some keyboard control so that I can answer a call or reject one really without scrabbling to find the cursor on this massive screen and going over to the side. The call comes in as a notification right before it goes. But just being able to take and to make calls, sitting right here, working away, writing away, it's pretty ridiculous how much it helps my concentration on things. If it weren't for how great the new iPadOS is, and also the stuff with shortcuts, and also stuff with quick keys, and the Clipboard Manager, the phone could be my favourite of the update. There are a lot of favourites, there are a lot of other features, but to my mind, these are the 5, 6 that are the reasons to update. They were for me. I would always give it a couple of days to let other people update and let them find the problems and let Apple fix them. But as this first goes out, macOS Tahoe, iOS 26 and iPadOS 26, well, they have been out for a couple of days and I haven't heard of any major disasters. Yeah, you should back up your device before you update, but you're not going to, are you? Let's just say you're probably fine, and let's definitely say that if you're not, it's on you rather than me. Maybe you should back up your novel at least. That's a good point. If your devices have not already nudged you to update, go to System Settings on the Mac or just Settings on the iPhone and the iPad. Go into the General section and then choose Software Update, and you might have to wait a bit for it to cup onto itself, but then away off you go. I would, one last suggestion, update one device at a time. Okay, work on one, update the other. But anyway, for now, that's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Take care of yourself, okay? Write more too. And I'll see you soon.